All right. I guess I'm gonna have to start the podcast over. I was recording the audio for about 5 minutes, but I forgot to record the video. Anyway, I'll just reiterate everything I said in the last 5 minutes. Welcome back, everyone. Hope you guys are enjoying your day. I had a little bit where I mentioned how I'm drinking apple juice. I remembered to bring a drink this time. Usually I forget and I complain. I got some apple juice here. It's in a cup that has a dog on it. Oh God, I choked. It's good. It's from Aldi's. 100% apples. I also asked if you guys want to have a name for this podcast. I don't have a name for the podcast. I don't. I think it's the Wiener Boy Podcast. I think it's also the podcast. The playlist just says the podcast. LT Podcast? I don't know. If you guys have a podcast name, leave it down below. Because I'd like to have something. Then also, today's episode, it's gonna be a good one. Because I actually have a plan. Usually I don't have a plan. And I thought it's charming to not have a plan. But then I realized it just becomes unraveled. Like Germany's defense today. Well, we might get into that later. So on the last 2 or 3 podcasts, I've been mentioning at like the tail end of the video, if you guys want to leave a question down below with hashtag like advice, I will give you guys advice. Or I will answer your questions, because that's something that I see podcasts do a lot. I don't know why. It's just filler, but you know what? We like emails. Give me your emails. Maybe I should make an email box. Send it to longtransactiongaming@gmail.com if you have a question. And I might read it. I don't really check that email, but just do it anyway. But I did ask for it on a long transaction video, not one of the podcast videos. And I did it at the beginning, so people actually saw it. And people wrote. I got like at least 5 or 6 questions. And I'll answer those. That's going to be coming up next on the podcast. But before we get into that, guys, it's World Cup time. The World Cup is here. You guys like the World Cup? Am I right? Where are my World Cup people at? Yeah? I like the World Cup. The World Cup is really funny in the United States because, especially in a year where the U.S. isn't in it, because of Trinidad and Tobago, both of them, you get people and they're like, man, that World Cup, who you got in the World Cup? And it's just people who clearly have no idea about what's going on. They don't know soccer. They don't know football. They don't know anything about it. But they're just like, oh, World Cup? Yeah, man, who you got in the World Cup? And then you'll be like, oh, I think maybe Brazil looks pretty good this year. Oh, yeah, man, Brazil, I was thinking the same. Yeah, didn't they have, you remember that guy, what's his name, Pele? He was pretty good. And then you're like, yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah, he's a good player. Oh, dude, Ronaldo, he's good. Yeah, man, he's sick, man. And it's so funny because these are conversations I have at work. It's funny because the World Cup in the United States, no one knows anything about soccer really, unless you follow it. And then you'll get people who are who watch the Premier League, or some people watch the Bundesliga. Those are really the only 2 leagues. You also get some people who like the MLS, but usually those are people who just like an excuse to drink a lot of beer, which, what, to each their own. But it's funny because the World Cup is a month long, so this happens for an entire month of people being like, yeah, man, you see that game? That game was crazy when the 2 nations played each other. Dude, and then what was that shot was so bad. I can't believe he missed that penalty kick. What did it? No, people in the US say PKs. Dude, I can't believe he missed that PK, dude. Dude, that PK, he should have Gerard PK. But it's funny because this is something that happens in the United States with every sport, with anything. It doesn't even have to be sports. It could be the stock market. The stock market shoot up like 500 points. And then everyone's a Wall Street investor and they're like, dude, yeah, I knew it. because I saw the job report last week, and I just had this feeling. I know this guy, and he was telling me to go big on Tesla. It could be that. It happens on Monday after the Super Bowl. It's water cooler talk. People would be like, yeah, man, I can't believe that last second, the field goal, man, I think it got touched. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Yeah, he should have called, they had timeouts. I don't know. And it's funny because you can tell really small details about whether or not someone actually watches sports or not because of the way they talk and the prepositions that they use. I can't think of an example. There was one that's when you're talking about a record for a team, you would say they're 18-1, 18 wins and 1 loss. But some people who don't know sports will be like, yeah, man, they're 18-1. Or here's an example with baseball. You do averages. So 347 means you're hitting 347. So 34.7% of the time you get a hit. But people will say yeah, he's hitting 34%, or people say he's hitting .34, which if you know anything about that sport, you'll be like, what? That's not how you say it. And so it's funny because with the World Cup, people, they already don't know anything about football. They just don't watch it. They'll watch the U.S. and they'll be like, yeah, man, I could watch the U.S. all day. I had a baseball teammate who said that once. This was back in 2012. And the Euros were going on, and someone was keeping up with the Euros on their phone, even though they didn't watch soccer, but it was in PKs. And he goes, yeah, man, dude, I can't believe they're in PKs right now. And then some other guy goes, oh, dude, yeah, I can't watch soccer unless it's the U.S. I mean, I could watch the U.S. men's team all day. And I'm sitting there like, the U.S. men's team is garbage. It's so bad to watch. In the Belgian-U.S. game in 2014, I had to turn it off because they were just so bad. I turned it back on, but I was like, it's so bad, I have to take a break. Watching the U.S. men's national team, for the most part, it's just watching really bad defensive play and people just scrambling all over the field, not really knowing what to do. The defense will pick it up and just fling it forward 500 yards, and they'll be like, I kicked the ball away. But this is all segueing into the bro turn. I don't do bits on this podcast where I anticipate what I'm gonna say, but this was just so funny. It was just so funny that I'm like, I have to say that. I have to tell someone this. So the bro turn is an intern at my job, and he just started working 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he's a bro, which is he's a college dude. He likes drinking beer. He sometimes will just randomly say, dude, I'm really craving a Stella Artois right now. And it's just really random. And by the way, if the bro turn is watching this and he figures out who he is, I don't dislike you. I like you. I think you're funny. I just think it's funny that you're a very stereotypical bro. So I still like you. Hope you like me. But the bro turn, I can kind of tell he doesn't know anything about soccer. Part of this was because I heard him once say, yeah, man, I only really like soccer because of FIFA. I kind of got into it because of FIFA, which, I mean, that's fair. I kind of got into soccer more because of FIFA, but not the main reason. It's not like they're substitutes. Okay. So he saw that I was watching the World Cup at work. I had a reflection. There was a reflection in the mirror or the window or something, and he saw that I was watching a game. So he goes, hey, how's the game going? And I'm like, oh, you saw that? Yeah, it's 0-0 right now. This is the Morocco-Iran game. Yeah, it's not a great match right now. And I hadn't been really watching it. I'd just been listening to it because I can't just put the game on my screen at work because I have a job. So then he's like, oh yeah, dude, you watch soccer? Yeah, man, I've gotten a little bit into it. So I'm like, okay, I wonder, I'd never really talked to him about it. So I'm trying to figure out if he actually likes soccer or if he's one of those hipster guys who just thinks it's dope to run around, or he wants to be foreign. He's like, yeah, it's exotic, dude. I kind of realized that his preposition usage is kind of strange. I have a feeling that he's just kind of not really sure. So this was right before lunch, and then we went to a restaurant. they happened to be showing the Morocco-Iran game on like 17 different televisions. But for whatever reason, the booth that they sat us at for 6 was in an area where there was only one TV. And it was like where I'm sitting right here, the wall. So it's a really tight angle to see. And so you have 3 people on one side who can kind of see it, 3 people on the others who they're just facing a different wall. So I knew that I immediately want to get onto the side where I could kind of see the TV. And I was hoping to get in an aisle seat so I'd get a better angle to see the TV. So I wasn't so close to the wall. But immediately the Brotern goes, "Oh, dude, the game's on." Yeah, dude, I call aisle seat. And I'm like, what? So he got the aisle seat. I sat right next to the wall. I could still see what was going on, but I couldn't see like the score. I couldn't really see what player was who. I couldn't see the time. And so we order our food. We're just sitting there waiting, eating some chips. And then I hear the Brotern go, "Oh, dude, they scored. Dude, what a goal." And I was like, "Oh, they scored? Really?" So I tried to look over, and this is the Morocco-Iran game. So if you guys know what happened, Morocco scored an own goal in like the 94th minute to lose. So it was a really bad goal, like a header into their own box, or into their own net. And so I'm like trying to figure out what's going on. I'm like, "Oh yeah, it looks like I guess Iran scored." And he goes, "Oh dude, watch this replay. Dude, that's a sick goal. That is nice. What a goal." And he's just acting like it's the best goal ever. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I think that was actually an own goal." And he's just like in his own world. He's like, "Dude, nice goal. Sick goal. That's so dope." And I'm like, "Yeah. Oh, I think it's the 94th minute. I think they're going to lose." And you can see the guy, I don't know who scored the own goal for Morocco, but you can see him and he's on the ground. He's like crying because he just cost his team, he cost his whole country a match with an own goal. And you just have this Brotern over here. He's like, "Dude, sick. Yeah, sick, dude." and I thought the other day, what if the Brotern was not in a Mexican restaurant in the United States watching on TV? What if he was in Russia? What if the Brotern was at the game, just in the Morocco stands for some reason? And you see, he's the kind of guy who's like, he's not shy. So he'll stand up and he'll be like, "Dude, nice goal. Yeah. Woo. Get the crowd going. Yeah." So I could just completely imagine he stands up in Russia with a bunch of Moroccan fans who they're all like heads in their hands. "Oh my gosh, we just lost this game to Iran." And then you got the Brotern and he's like looking for high fives because he thinks Morocco just scored. Because he sees Morocco scored. And he's like, "Dude, nice goal, Morocco. Let's go. Nice. It's not going to end in a tie." Oh, the Brotern. Oh, what a day. That guy is funny. He was talking about the Russia-Saudi game. And he's like, "Yeah, man. Did you see that 4th goal? That was sick." Everything is sick. He's like, "That was sick, dude. What was that? Like, outside of the right foot?" I'm like, "That was the left foot," because the angle wouldn't make any sense. But it was a Trivela with the left foot from Cheryshev. Sports, man. Sports just brings out the best in people, doesn't it? We might have more of the Brotern. I don't know. He's so funny and just such a bro that there are endless possibilities. Just endless possibilities. Okay, we're about 15 minutes in. I'm gonna try to read some of these. And we'll see where that takes us. I don't know if I want to spend the whole time just answering stuff, but we'll see where it takes us. Moises Enrique Jr. says, any advice on how to be a GOAT like you? I mean, I'm not a GOAT. Ronaldo's not. This is kind of like, if you guys have heard of the podcast Ear Biscuits, they have an episode series thing going on called Rabbit Hole, where they'll start with one topic, but they'll just go wherever it takes them. So how to be a GOAT like you, if you're talking about how to be a YouTuber, you got to find something that you enjoy, and then you got to just keep sticking with it. I know last week I seemed a little bit pessimistic, probably because I was. Sometimes I just hate YouTube. Sometimes I just think, oh my gosh, is this really what I've gotten myself into? And then other times I'm like, this is fun and creative and nice. So how to be a GOAT like you, I'm just going to assume you're saying how to be a good YouTuber. You just got to find something and enjoy it. Don't get caught up in spending a bunch of money on your equipment. The equipment is necessary after you have an audience. The equipment will not make the difference in getting an audience. Speaking of YouTube, oh my gosh, guys, did you see the JJ, or what is it, KSI, Logan Paul, Deji, Jake Paul, what is it called? The Showdown Cringe Fest, because they're having a boxing match, mate, because they're having a fight in like a month or 2 months maybe, and it was so cringing. I was watching it. I might even do a video on reacting to it live. I didn't watch the whole thing, but there was like a 2-hour live stream that I saw. The first hour and 30 minutes was just a black screen, and I was like, why? What is going on? And then finally, they just come out, and the whole time it's just people like, yeah, what's up? I'ma beat you up. I'ma beat you up. What? I'ma beat you up. Yeah, and then you got Jake Paul and Logan Paul, and they're just, I don't know if I'm allowed to curse on this. I don't really want to curse, but he's calling him an effing wussy, is what I'll say. He's an effing wussy. And I'm like, this is so cringing. I'm just like, I hate the word cringe because I think it's overused, but it's so, it makes me feel so gross. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is YouTube. This is what YouTube has to look forward to. And don't get me wrong, I'm going to watch the fight because I think watching two Bellans punch each other is great. But like, there's so many things about it that just make me cringe, and I don't want to get in. I'm going to mention everything, and I might consolidate it into a different video later. But it's like the fact that you got these people and they're talking like they're world-class boxers. They're not. 3 of them have never had a boxing match, have never had a fight like a professional. None of them have ever had a professional fight. You had JJ who fought Joe Weller. He looked pretty good, I guess. I don't watch a lot of boxing, but I've seen some. They would get wrecked by pretty much anyone who's ever boxed because they've been boxing less than a year, training-wise, like almost every day. And I understand how much hard work they've put in, and that's great. And I think it's nice to see progress. I'm a big fan of like starting something, being really bad at it, and then progressing to a point where it's like, hey, I'm actually not terrible. So that's like what I did with my Fortnite series. If you watch the first episodes of that, I was so bad at the game. It was terrible. It's terrible to watch. But now I've gotten to a point, I'm not great, but I'm decent enough that I have like 60 wins or something like that. But these guys are just, they get so many fans that they think suddenly they're incredible boxers. And you can, if you watch Triple G at any press conference, if you watch Klitschko, Joshua, their press conference the night before the boxing, I keep saying boxing match, the night before the fight, they're just like, they understand it's just a business. It's just a business. It's their profession to box. It's not like a street fight. And Klitschko asks, they're doing the face-off. They're literally right in front of each other. These guys are 260 pounds of just pure muscle. They spent their whole lives boxing. They won Olympic golds, silvers, bronzes. They are the best fighters in the world. And then they're like, Klitschko says to Joshua, how are you doing? And then Joshua's like, I'm doing okay. How about yourself? And it's a civil thing. These giant human beings are about to go punch each other in the face repeatedly. But the night before, they're like, how are you doing? And then you have just a mug from the United Kingdom and then an absolute bigger mug from Cleveland, or what, Ohio, white boy, whatever. And they're just like, yo, freaking poor man. Yo, effing wussy, man. And it's just so cringy. Because these guys they've put in like 8 months. Some of them have put in less than 8 months. I'm just going by KSI. He's put in like 10 months of work maybe, and he's gotten great results. Good for him. But he's not accomplished anything. Like what, he beat one YouTuber? What? In 30 years, are you going to go around and showing your kids and you're like, yeah, 2018, box this YouTuber, and then show him your highlight video of you working out and like having poor form doing jumping jacks or something. It's so, oh my gosh. Come on, guys. I always think towards the future. And maybe they don't care. Maybe they think it's cool. Maybe in 30 years they'll think it's cool. But I know for me, sometimes I get caught up in the moment and I'll think something's really dope. And I'll be like, oh, this is sick. I can't wait to watch this again. It's just so good. And then the next day I'll watch it, or maybe I'll be like making a song and I'll be like, in the moment I think it's the best song ever. Then I turn it off and I come back the next morning and I listen to it. I'm like, this is garbage. Why was I thinking this was so good? And that's what I expect them to be in like 30 years. Jake Paul has like a freaking neck tattoo now or something. And they were wearing these just awful suits. It's just so, oh my gosh. I can't believe that's where YouTube is going. And you get this, I don't remember who the MC was, but it was some retired boxer, I think. And he's probably thinking to himself, I'm getting so much money, this is great, but these guys are just such idiots. It reminds me of in high school. This is like if you had a high school fight at the park after school, and then people were hyping it up. And it's so sad to think about like a bunch of amateurs getting millions of views just because of how big they are. And they're not talented at boxing. I think JJ is actually a pretty good boxer. I've never seen Logan Paul box. I think they could probably beat me up, and that's fine. But it's not like they're incredible. Usually with how sports work is you get the best people to go up top. You get the best people, and they're good, and that's why they draw an audience. Not just because they have an audience and then they transport to a different realm. It's not like if you had Bruno Mars just randomly be like, I want to fight Jay-Z, that would get a bunch of views. That would get an incredible amount of views. But no one would watch that and be like, yeah, man, I know about boxing now. And the best part is you get a bunch of kids who they subscribe to Logan Paul for his Maverick dabbing or whatever it is. And now he's become a boxer. And then suddenly all these 11-year-olds are like talking about boxing techniques as if they've ever done anything remotely close. I don't know. It's just so funny. It makes me laugh so hard. I'm still going to watch the fight and it's going to be great, but it just makes me laugh so hard. All right, next question. That was random. That had nothing to do with goats. Sephiroth says, #help me, Dad. What do you do when you get in the friend zone? That's something I have absolutely zero experience with. No, I have a lot of experience with that problem. So, the friend zone is a tough place. I would say it's easy to be put in the friend zone if you don't make your intentions clear early on. But it's not like you can, I'm assuming you can get friend zoned by a boy or a girl. But if the person that you're interested in is not interested in you romantically and they just want you as a friend, even if you do make your intentions clear, that's the first thing. If you want something more than just a friendship, you should make it clear to them in whatever way that is. Maybe you could just tell them, maybe you could like hint it, but don't just go along trying to be a friend if you don't just want that. But even if you do all this, you like even tell them, hey, I want to be more than just friends, and they're like, nah, I just like you as a friend. You can't do anything. You just have to move on. If you don't want them as a friend, you could be like, okay, well, sorry, I don't think that's going to work out because I like you too much. And then you could either be their friend and just kind of suffer, or you could just move on. But you're not going to be able to change someone's mind. You just have to find a connection. You have to find your fish. You're fishing, you're a fisherman, you're a fisherwoman. You have your bait, it's yourself. And sometimes the fish doesn't bite. And then you just move on to a different area. That's all I can tell you. Don't get stuck in a friend zone, don't get caught up on one fish. Because as the saying goes, there are plenty of fish in the sea. Dude, I have like the sniffles or something. I feel like there's rice in my nose. I'm going to drink some apple juice. Hopefully that makes all the rice nose go away. Rice nose. Another thing about the boxing sorry, I'm stuck on this, but there's a difference between like the charity match that they had that the Sidemen do and the Wembley Cup, because they realize with the football matches, they're not that. Some of them aren't that great. Some of them are good, but they're not like acting like they're the best footballers in the world. Whereas with this, I get the sense that it's because it's boxing, it's one-on-one, it's personal. You actually have to beat someone up. They think that they're good now, and it's just like, come on, you're not good. Okay, next question. Master Flask. Oh, I remember this one. This question, I don't know if I'm going to answer this. He said, I'm 17, just graduated from high school, and I got someone pregnant. Advice. Because I don't know what to do. I don't know. Like, you gotta, I don't know if this is a troll joke. I think it might be. I don't know if you actually genuinely want my advice. For this one, I don't know. Go to your local mother or father. Because I would say you have to somehow support that child. That's what I can go with. Notorious, my boy Notorious, who writes, #help me dad. How do you get subs on YouTube? Any advice from a father like yourself? As someone who has struggled with YouTube, it's hard because I feel like there's so many people making stuff now that you can't really separate yourself. At least I've found that to be a little bit challenging. You can't really focus on the number of subscribers. You can focus on the number, like the content that you create. But even if people, I saw this from Casey Neistat the other day. He was saying, or he might have retweeted it, and it's something to the effect of, people are always asking me for advice on how I became so successful, but I don't know how to tell them that I kind of just got lucky. So even Casey Neistat, who I think is very talented, he's acknowledging that to a certain extent he got lucky. Like, he just happened to be at the right place at the right time. What he was doing with daily vlogs happened to be popping at that very moment. He could do the same video. You could have someone else, Casey Neistat 2.0, who was doing the exact same videos, doing the exact same stuff at the exact same time, and for whatever reason the algorithm just didn't notice him. Or you could have Casey Neistat 3.0 robot version, who's doing the exact same Casey Neistat videos right now, so just a different time, and the algorithm at this time does not favor what it did 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So what I'm trying to say is, you can do all the steps necessary to try to express yourself and create a niche channel, but it doesn't always work. And you have the option of either focusing on creating a niche channel and being like, I want to become successful on YouTube, I want to do this. And then you like just become focused on that, and you don't really care about the happiness that you get from creating YouTube videos. And you might get more success from subs, but then you might hit a point where you're like, I really just don't even like doing this anymore. And then you're stuck with like 1,000 subscribers who want to see this content because they subscribe for it. But then you're like, I'm kind of bored of that. And they're all just like, hey man, what the hell? So it's difficult. To a more pragmatic approach of actually getting subs, it's kind of, you have to self-promote. And I don't like self-promotion in the fact that in the way of going to people's channels and be like, hey man, sub for sub. You can't even do that anymore, I don't think, because it gets it gets spam marked, so it won't even show up. But the thing that I tried to do, which I don't think don't do this, but what I did was, I would go to Reddit FIFA and I'd be like, hey guys, I have this new series, maybe you guys want to check it out. This was back in like 2015, and Reddit, the FIFA subreddit has changed so much. I used to like, the people there they were not toxic. FIFA has become so bad, and the Weekend League has become so bad that the FIFA subreddit is toxic, and I don't like reading it anymore because it's just people complaining, people like spending thousands of pounds, thousands of dollars, and not getting good packs, and it's just not, I don't know. So I did self-promotion through that. You could create a Twitter, use hashtags, just try to get yourself trending, and then you'll see if for whatever reason the algorithm favors you. You have to just play for the algorithm. I know last week I seemed kind of pessimistic because some people Armando thought I was quitting YouTube, and I'm not quitting YouTube. I might not get FIFA 19. I'm not going to spoil what happens in the next couple of episodes of the World Cup mode, because I do record multiple at a time, and then I edit it during the week, because if I come home and I'm always tired, so I don't have enough energy to record and then edit afterwards. So I record them in bulk on the weekend. I'm not going to spoil what happened, but I will say that I'm not a huge fan of FIFA, and this is kind of why I was thinking about not buying FIFA 19, because I can see their business model. I understand what their business model is moving towards, and it's just packs. And the way that they're trying to have packs become more important is by having the skill gap lessened for players. So for example, say I've played FIFA 100 times every day, like 100 matches a day, I'm top tier. And then I play someone who plays casually like every weekend. The gap between how much I'm going to win by is lessened now in FIFA 18 as compared to FIFA 15, where even if I used terrible players and the guy who plays casually, who's not good, uses a really good squad, I'm probably going to win because I know just the mechanics of the game. And now you can't just you can't just have a full icon team and like not know what shoot is and still win. But some people who know the buttons, know like what a low driven is, you're gonna win games. You're gonna score goals just because of you're having a good team. And that's why I was not able to do Bronze to Glory, because I was playing people who were pretty good, but I still think I was better than. But my players would just get really tired. They would have no stamina, and I couldn't do anything because it's just like, oh, Maradona is just running past me. I can't. What am I supposed to do here? It's not really so much that I'm not playing well. It's just my players are not fast enough. I've noticed that is a major problem with this World Cup mode, because they've made it way too easy to get good players. They've made it so I've come up against Mateus 17 times. It's just Mateus, you got Henry, everyone has Pele, everyone has Maradona. And I understand that it's fun to use those players, but then I'm thinking to myself, I just got Golovin, who had a really good game, scored an incredible goal for that free kick against Saudi Arabia. And he gets an okay upgrade, I guess. He became an 82 rated player from like 79 or something. But like, what is the point of an 82 rated Golovin when you have Mateus, who's easily attainable because you just need an 83 rated squad for an icon SBC? And you're going to get Mateus eventually. It's not that difficult because there aren't that many players. So what is the point of this minuscule rated upgrade for a Golovin when there's no benefit for chemistry, because both of them play in Europe? If anything, the icon is easier to link because he doesn't even have a confederation that he plays for. So there's just no point for like 95% of these players, unless it's Ronaldo, unless it's Messi, Neymar, one of these really fast players with good pace, good strength. They're just useless because there's no incentive to play with a lesser team. There's no weekend league with restrictions. There's nothing. I don't understand why they did that. Well, okay, I'm sorry. I do understand why they did that, because they want to sell packs. Moving back to like, I can't play Bronze to Glory. Some of you might argue that just because I can't play Bronze to Glory doesn't mean no one else can. And maybe I'm just not as good, or maybe people have gotten better than what I am, which is certainly true. But I would just like to counter that with #Harry in FIFA 17 did some using like entirely bronze teams or using entirely silver teams in the weekend league, and he still got top 100. FIFA 17. He tried like using 5-star skillers only in FIFA 18, and I don't know if he got top 100 or Elite 3 or something, but he struggled. Elite 1 or Elite 2. He struggled more with 5-star skillers who were gold as opposed to like a full bronze team in FIFA 17. Because of what I said, as long as you have good players, because EA knows that good players, if you're going to be spending a ton of $1,000 just to get a 90 rated player, it better be a lot better than an 85 rated player. So that's all I want to say. I don't know. FIFA, bothers me, but I still love football so much that I might buy it. Daniel Turner, my boy, says, #help me dad. I'm about to turn 39 on Tuesday. Is my life over? Even my kids are starting to think I'm not cool anymore. Daniel, 39 is not old. I'm 21, and sometimes I think, geez, I'm really old. What makes me always feel really old is because I like sports so much. Geez, I have to sneeze. This has never happened on the podcast before. I don't know if to fight. Should I fight it or should I let it? Oh my gosh. It's never happened before. I don't think I've sneezed on podcast. And I can't just cut it out. Sometimes I think I'm old because I'm 21, about to turn 22. And I always look at sports and I'll see someone like Mbappe, who's just gone for like $200 million, and he's 2 years younger than me. And I'm like, holy crap. Or Ousmane Dembele, also like 2 years younger than me, moving for $150 million. And I'm thinking, I'm just wasting my life. And then aside from sports, I also like music a lot. But then I'll see just up-and-coming artist, Shawn Mendes. Well, he's not even up-and-coming. He's up-and-comed. What? He's like 2 years younger than me, and he gets hundreds of millions of views on streams on his songs. But I always tell myself, it's survivorship bias. You notice all the people who are successful, but what about the like millions of people who did not reach that point? They are probably all thinking the same thing, and it's just a probability thing. You have, for every one Shawn Mendes, there's 100 million Bon Bendezes who just are living in their parents' basement, making a podcast and scratching their eye and sneezing. So it's survivorship bias. Your life isn't over. You just understand that you still are cool. Understand that you shouldn't really care what other people think. That's something that everyone struggles with, wondering what other people think. But you got to always remember, you're worried what other people think, but they're worried what you're thinking. So if you just don't even care, then everyone's good. Like, no one's really concerned with you because they're so concerned about yourself. They're so concerned about themselves. Let's see, what other comments? Hugo wrote, #help me dad. Dad, I need to know how to fix my dad. Please help me, dad. Where did this dad thing come from? I don't know if I started this. I wanted to tweet yesterday during the Iceland game because every single person's name ends with son. And I wanted to take a picture and then post on Twitter, who's going to be the dad today or something like that. I couldn't think of a joke. That's why I didn't do it. But I don't know where this dad thing came from. Like, did I call myself dad? Or did someone call me dad? I remember I did Lard Dad when I packed Henrik Larsson back in like October. I think it was October or November. But why did I do that? Can anyone tell me where that came from? I don't know. Frank Reynolds says, I forgot to spay my pet. How can I rectify this tragic error? You can spay them at any point. It's just population control is a very important thing. Another thing, I know where this forgot to spay my pet or the spay my pets thing came from, because in the very first episode I said I needed an end phrase, so I stole what Drew Carey does on Price is Right, and he says, please don't forget to get your pets spayed and neutered or something like that. And someone on this podcast channel, he wrote, does anyone get that reference? Because I feel like most people don't get the reference, and I don't think most people do. And even in someone made a long transaction appreciation thread on Reddit, which I think those are really cool, but I also don't understand. Like, I would never do that for someone, but they wrote like they didn't understand that I was saying don't forget to spay your pets. They thought I was saying something completely different. Don't forget to save your mess or something. And I thought it was so funny because I'm saying don't forget to spay your pets in every single video, and half of my audience probably has no idea what I'm saying because I'm saying it quickly. Maybe some of them don't even know what to spay is, like the verb to spay, because English might not be their first language, or they might not. That's a random word to know. I can speak German and Italian pretty well. I have no idea how you would say either of those. I don't know how you say that in either of those languages. So to rectify that tragic error, Frank, I would just say you could buy a new one, or just spam. Final one. We hit 40 minutes. I got the sniffles. I think this was a good episode. Let me know down below if you like this episode. Ramathorn wrote, all right, Higgins, need some advice. Tinder or FIFA? Which one guarantees that you're going to get shafted? That is a very easy one. It is definitely FIFA. Tinder does not yield any results when you're not attractive. Thank you guys for joining. Hope you did enjoy it. If you want, email me. Leave it in a comment down below. I want to help. This killed like 35 minutes. I didn't even need to think of anything. I had the Brotern thing all set. We'll see what he does this week. If you guys are interested in the Brotern, let me know, because he might be coming. I should get the Brotern as a guest on the podcast. What if I did that? That would be so cool. But anyway, leave your hashtag #HelpMeDad down below. Hope you guys did enjoy it. See you next week. And as always, don't forget to spay your pets.